On this episode of Best of America by Horseback, Tom C. is riding at the V6 Ranch in Parkfield, California. Conveniently located in the heart of Central California, just 4 hours from the expansive cities of Los Angeles and San Francisco, the V6 Ranch takes guests back in time to a simpler way of life, the cowboy way of life, in a valley that has virtually remained unchanged for centuries. Purchased in 1961 by Jack and Zira Varian, just 3 years after Jack graduated from Cal Poly with a degree in animal husbandry, this 20,000-acre ranch is now operated by 3 generations of the Varian family. Jack knew from a very early age what he wanted to do for a living, and after seeing the movie City Slickers, he and his wife Z decided to share their beautiful valley and their love of ranching with guests.
We watched that movie and we got out of it, and I was walking out the door and I said to Z, we can do that. The cattle, we were struggling right then. And we started our first cattle drive. Now we're into number, I think it's 27 or 28 coming up this spring.
The cattle drives Jack and Z started back in the early 90s are so popular today that they often host 3 in the springtime and 1 every fall. Guests can bring their own horses or use one of the V6 ranch horses. Guests become part of the daily ranch life, getting a real taste of what the Varian family have been doing here for 60 years.
You have people that come in, even with their own horses, that have never experienced driving cattle or being on a ranch. What's that little point where you see them change, where the ranch changes them from, I have a horse and I ride a horse, versus this is really something I want to be part of? You see it all the time?
We do. The first day, everyone's kind of feeling each other out and they're not real sure. And then the second day, they're really starting to enjoy themselves. And by the third day, they're hooked. It's life-changing for them too. And I'm not saying that's by any means that's all because of us. It's because of this beautiful place and occupation we get to do every day.
Viewers joined Tom at the V6 Ranch for a weekend of riding and camaraderie. It was a chilly and rainy weekend, but it did not dampen the spirits of these hardy trail riders, who all enjoyed experiencing the beauty and awe of the V6 Ranch.
You're going to take these people on a trail ride and think about California, you think about the big cities, and this is probably the most beautiful part of California you can ever visit. Where are you going to take these people with their group riding?
There's an area of the ranch which we call the Badlands. It's a beautiful, just kind of really different area. And then we're going to roll up the canyon there, up towards the main headquarters, and then we'll hit Taylor Mesa. It's just gorgeous. You just pop out of the bottom of the valley and you get to see all the way down the valley. I would love to be able to take everyone to the back of the ranch, which is where when we take our cattle drives, we go and you're on top of the mountain there and you're looking all the way across California. You look to the east, you see the Sierras, the Sequoias. You look to the west, you see the coastal range. And when you get up there on a clear day, you realize that California, even though it's a huge state, it doesn't feel nearly that big when you're kind of looking all the way across it.
How many years have you been coming here?
About 9.
Now, you came here without your horse and you rode a rental horse. How was it?
It was wonderful. The horse was very nice, very gentle, and John took us on a nice long ride, and he showed us a wonderful time, and the horses were perfect. They were perfect.
It's a pleasure always seeing you and riding with you, and we just kind of think you're first class. We really like you.
Well, I think you're first class. You people are exceptional. You do something that no one else has done, and you bring joy to people. That has got to give you joy.
It does. It does. This ranch is a ranch that anybody can ride, any level rider, any
yes,
type of trail.
For sure. Yes, because number one, you're so full of excitement and joy to be here in this wonderful valley, and I mean, it's green, the air is wonderful.
What do you see?
I saw a lake and hills and greenery. I saw beauty. That's what I saw, beauty. And I'm only 2 hours away.
Welcome back to Best of America by Horseback. Tom C. is riding with viewers at the V6 Ranch near Parkfield, California. This 20,000-acre cattle ranch is family owned and operated by 3 generations of the Varian family. Jack and Z Varian started the ranch and named it the V6 for their last name and their family of 6. Jack was the cattleman and Z was quite an experienced horsewoman. She started riding at a very early age with her brother. She taught all of her children how to ride and trained most of the horses here on the ranch. Today, their son John and his wife Barb manage the ranch and activities for their guests, often with the help of one of their 3 children. John was born on the ranch, and Barb, who also grew up on a ranch, are a perfect host who love sharing their beautiful ranch and their way of life with their guests.
Grew up here, just ranch life. I mean, there was nothing really out here. And when I came back from college and when I knew I wanted to live here, we started with a restaurant with no kitchen. We went outside and cooked on an oak pit barbecue outside just in the wide open. Of course, the first time it was raining and you had customers, you're standing out there with the rain jacket on cooking. And so we just kept going in the direction of what we love to do so much that we're willing to come back here and work really, really hard for a lot of times not a whole lot of money, just because we love it that much. We needed the amenities, we needed the infrastructure, so we went from the restaurant and added onto it, and we have a real kitchen now, and then a lodge for people to stay in. Horses and cattle, that's what we love to do. We started that with the cattle drives and people would come ride our horses. Then as things kept evolving, it was like, okay, here's all these people with their own horses that want that opportunity to do with their horses. And so then we expanded and built the horse camp. And so then people that love riding could have the opportunity to come to a real ranch that has been a cattle ranch since the beginning in our family for the last 60 years, and they could come get a taste of what we do all year round.
During our ride weekend, John Varian, Barb Varian, and their daughter Catherine started the ride, taking guests up the valley towards the ranch headquarters. Rain and dense cloud cover kept visibility low during the first part of the ride. By the time they reached the lake, the clouds started to break, revealing green rolling hills and the pristine beauty the V6 Ranch is known for. Sunny skies in the afternoon allowed the riders to ride high up on the ranch, towards the mesa, where they could experience the mountains and vast expanses with no signs of civilization, smog, or the 32 million people living just 4 hours away.
What does horseback riding in a place like the V6 Ranch do for you?
Oh, for me, it's a sense of freedom. You know, especially me, I'm going through the kind of an illness right now, and it's just nice to get out and smell some air. And
So this is sort of medicine in and of itself.
oh, absolutely, absolutely.
You have a horse that you rode today?
Yes.
Tell me about that horse.
We call him Drifter. He's a buckskin. He's about 14 years old. I've had him about 7 years. And he hasn't been out much lately with me being sick, but he's just a nice little horse. Marches out, and it's real fun.
It's a pleasure having you on the TV show.
Thank you, thank you.
And you're an inspiration to all of us.
Thank you.
And sometimes we don't feel too well and we put it behind us. You don't feel too well and you're here riding a horse and you're doing just fine.
This was my goal. When I heard about the ride that was coming out back in November, whenever I heard for it, I said, well, there's my goal. There's my first goal, to get back in the saddle and be on that ride.
Well, you did just fine.
Thank you.
The only thing here that may make somebody nervous is you picked a famous spot to have this ranch, you and your family. What's the name of that fault? Sand?
It's not very well known.
It's an earthquake fault.
It's just a San Andreas fault.
Yeah,
it's not. It's very little fault. It's, you know, I mean, a few people have heard of it, but you know, I mean, that's what kept everyone away. That's why it's still ranches here.
Well, in the restaurant, there's a sign. You can look up and see all these branding irons. If they're swaying, you're supposed to take your steak outside and eat it. How's that go?
If you feel a quake or a shake, get on your table and eat your steak.
Do you have many quakes, or are they just little tremors here?
Most of them are below what we feel. We do have the notoriety of being the most studied spot on Earth for earthquakes, because every day we have 100 earthquakes, but they're below what we can feel.
You know, this little town has a population of
18.
18, and you have a little school. And how hard is it to be in the top 10?
Well, all the kids this year are in the top 10.
How many kids are in school this year?
I think there's 9 this year. It's a one-room schoolhouse, kindergarten through 6th. I went there. All my kids went there. All my brothers and sisters went there.
In the town of Parkfield, you will also find the Parkfield Cafe and Gift Shop, built by John Varian. On the outside, you will see remnants of the old mining operations. They have repurposed into clever signs, decorations, and even fountains. A huge and imaginative treehouse sits in the side yard, an entertainment area used for town functions. Inside, there is a pool table and a gift shop. It is decorated with Western and repurposed decor, including branding irons hanging from the ceiling. All of the meals are delicious, especially the steaks, still cooked over an oak wood fire. Across the road from the cafe is the Parkfield Lodge, water tower, and post office, which have 9 guest rooms. Rustic on the outside, the rooms on the inside are all uniquely and beautifully furnished with modern amenities. Built by John Varian and his ranch crew, these structures are made of wood and logs, and they have creatively repurposed materials and artifacts from the area throughout the rooms and the surrounding grounds, preserving their history. Another option is to bring your own LQ trailer and camp in the Blue Oak Camp, nestled in a small valley under oak trees, which has water hookups and 45 horse pens. You can also rent one of the bunkhouse rooms or even a glamping tent. The camp has a gathering pavilion and kitchen area where Barb Varian provided wonderful meals for our group, and John provided entertainment by inviting Monterey County Sheriff Steve Burnell to sing. Stay tuned, we'll be back with more from the V6 Ranch in California when Best of America by Horseback returns. Tom C. is visiting the V6 Ranch in Parkfield, California. The V6 is family, cattle, horses, and just as important, the land.
My wife and I, our legacy is the conservation easement that we put on the ranch in 2001. It protected the ranch from division, and it made it possible for my 4 children and 9 grandchildren to have a ranch that the idea of dividing it was off the table. So now figure out how you're going to make a go of it.
John and Barb Varian host many activities at the V6 Ranch throughout the year, including trail rides, camps, clinics, and of course, the cattle drives that Jack and Z started in the early 90s. Guests can escape into the cowboy side of California, connecting with nature, family, and friends, as they experience the beautiful and unique landscapes of the Chelan Valley and the Diablo Mountains, where they will camp high up at the Mustang Camp. Riders will develop new riding skills and techniques on gathering, moving, and sorting cattle. Cattle drives on the V6 ranch with guests are the real deal. Moving cattle to different grazing areas on the ranch is part of the holistic land management practices Jack started years ago, implementing rotational grazing to help sustain their cattle operation. Guests become part of the daily ranch life here and perhaps even discover something they never expected.
When people come here to this ranch that have never been here before, what do you hope that they will see? What's the takeaway?
Well, they automatically, without a doubt, they get vaccinated with Parkfield magic. When you leave here, I've seen it over and over and over again, you're a different person.
What's your favorite part of the ranch?
Oh, I think if I just go up what I call the Gavette Trail, and you've gotten away from the corrals, you look up on our mountain, there are no phone lines, and there's no electricity, and there's just the way God made it. And it's pretty much the same today as it was 500 years ago. And that's quite a view. That's quite a view. I never get tired of looking at that one.
This ranch, when you talk to you or people here, it seems to drift into almost being sacred ground. There's a passion that just kind of comes out in the conversation. It's almost sacred.
That the ranch becomes a member of the family. Today, when Barb and I just took a little cruise up the mountain, or when we go hiking, it never stops awing us.
The ranch, it has more than just children and people on it. What about all the other critters? What about the deer and the foxes and the coyotes and all those guys? And the soil bacteria and the trees and the brush. They all need a home too. I'm just got the word. I'm just passionate about what I do. And I'll do it till the day I die.
For more information on the V6 Ranch and their schedule of activities, visit their website, www.v6ranch.com, or call them at 805-463-2421.
I've thoroughly enjoyed riding here at the V6 Ranch right here in California. If you're ever traveling out this way, the place I recommend is the V6 Ranch. Great people, nice horses, and a great place to spend your time. I'm Tom C. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week on Best of America by Horseback.